Hello and welcome back to the show, Game Bet Match Podcast. I'm your host Manny Friedman, along with my co-host
Brad Sloan back in the house again. Seventh round, man.
Seventh round. We're at the finals. The
You can
final.
tell Manny is ready to fall asleep there. He's in his bed for this one because he's running out of gas. He's in the fifth set tiebreak.
I'm ready for the 250s to begin again.
For the Challenger Tour, Manny's been grinding
Yeah,
the Challenger
that's
Tour
true.
hard. If any of you guys have been checking out the Twitter.
That's true. Challenger Tour has been quite friendly to me, so I'm gonna keep grinding. But that being said, we're super excited for this final. Djokovic versus Tsitsipas is the Australian Open final this year. So we're gonna dive deep into the prop bets in that match, and but first we're of course gonna recap the semifinals. So all right, let's get into it.
Yeah, so first semi was Tsitsipas versus Khachanov. Pretty close match, 4 tight sets. I thought it was really interesting. First set was kind of odd in that Tsitsipas went up a break twice, and I think he got broken serving for the set, right? In the first set, I believe. And so that was a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
Then Khachanov played a terrible first set tiebreak. Then flipping around the other way. Second set was pretty much one-way traffic for Tsitsipas. Got one break and held on. I think Khachanov maybe got into one service game of Tsitsipas's. Third set, Tsitsi got the early break, but then Khachanov kept fighting, kept hanging around, made some great shots to like hang in the third set. I thought to hanging down a break. And then he actually broke Tsitsipas serving for the match. Tsitsipas missed a smash, got a little tight in general. So that was the third set. So Tsitsipas, then the tiebreak, Khachanov took it. Was down 6-4. Played some fabulous points down 6-4. Played 2 great points.
Amazing.
To square the tiebreak. Came back, took it. And then in the fourth set was kind of like the second set where Tsitsipas got the early break and just kind of cruised and hung on. I think Khachanov got into one service game in the last set as well. And other than that, it was just Tsitsipas pretty much cruising.
The 5-4 game when Tsitsipas served for it, he had like 2 aces and, a couple great winners, so it was just
Tsitsipas played great the game he closed.
So that was a great mental effort actually to close it out there. Granted,
especially after having kind of that starch kicker in the third set where he was
he choked.
He served for the match and he had 2 set points.
Yeah.
So I think Tsitsipas, that's kind of an underrated thing about him, is he's really, really mentally tough.
He is. Well, that's why he's top 5 in the world, right? And he never gives in physically. There's never really like a huge dip in intensity from him.
No.
He maintains that level, which, gives us hope for him making the final a competitive match. Right. So
yeah, I mean that's what we want to see, right? I think everybody wants to see a competitive match. Because this semi was okay. Moving into the other semi, non-competitive. Like and the question there was how competitive would Tommy Paul be, and the answer was not.
And how many prop bets would we win?
Well, Manny did really well on that. Brad didn't. Brad had faith in Tommy Paul as an ATP level player to do ATP level player things.
Manny did not have any faith.
Made him look like a challenger player. I mean, Djokovic actually won 51% of points on Paul's serve, which is just batshit insane. Like, yeah, I like that does not happen on the ATP tour where a guy loses more points than he wins on serve. Like, regardless of anything. Like maybe if the guy gets the ball back, you'll see where a guy wins the point when he gets the ball. The majority of points he gets the ball back in play. But like, no, this was just flat out. And Paul
on the hard court,
double, or Paul had 0 doubles.
Yeah, Paul didn't really have any doubles.
I had no doubles, so it was all just Djokovic like manhandling him in every way possible. With the exception of a slight blip in the first set, Djokovic up 5-1. Had a couple bad games, had some errors. There was a time violation that looked like he got Djokovic a little bit rattled. So that allowed Paul to get back in the first set. He actually got back from 5-1 to square it at 5-all. Looked for a moment like it was kind of exciting, and Djokovic just put out the fire. Went up 7-5, went up 2 early breaks, went up 5-love in the second, ran out, and winning that 6-1. And then the third set, he got 3-2, or he broke Paul the first 2 games and just ran away 6-2. Looked like, I mean, honestly, it looked like he could have broken Paul anytime he wanted to.
Yeah, because once he gets to serve back, right, he's going to get the serve because Paul's serve is not that great. So Djokovic is going to get that serve relatively
but
deep.
he's not like, this isn't Diego Schwartzman. Like, Paul's serve is like, it's average for an ATP player. Like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but it doesn't push Novak back, or it doesn't like make progression, right?
I get you. I hear you.
And
It's
once
just
the
like,
rally starts, it's probably what, 65-35 for Djokovic. He wins those points, right?
I mean, there's definitely an advantage for Djokovic. I'd say it's probably more like 60-40, but maybe against Paul it is 65-35. I thought Paul would I don't know. I thought Paul would be more competitive. I thought he'd force him into more errors. But Djokovic just played really well, with the exception of that blip at the end of the first set.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul competed really hard. Like, Paul ran a lot of balls down, but just didn't matter. Djokovic
When you play Djokovic, you need weapons. You need to be able.
Unless you're like Simone, right, and you force him into 100 errors, which is kind of what I was hoping for, but that didn't happen.
Djokovic like had an off day, like that's possible if he's playing well, like that doesn't trouble him. That was a really bad day for him. It was like a hot day session day. Like it
was a night match, but
no, it was a day match. That was a day match.
The Djokovic match? That was the 3:30 in the morning match. It was 7:30 at night.
Oh yeah, no, the one against Paul, but the one against Simone. I'm talking.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day, and like just didn't play well. It happens, but yeah. All right. So I'm sorry, I'm having slight technical difficulties with sharing my screen. I'm using my laptop today, so we're just gonna have to like talk about our bets. I won't be able to pull up the screen. So let's see. Brad, do you have stuff from the Tsitsipas match that you want to talk about?
I mean, so I did really well in the Tsitsipas match. In terms, I mean, I missed some long odds stuff. Like you and I both bet and have the same number of aces. That didn't go well. That was kind of a long odds like prayer shot bet, and Tsitsipas just way out ace Kachanov.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I called that match really well. I thought it would be either in straights or maybe in 4. So I put some bets on each. I put one on Tsitsipas in the over 36.5. And I put one on Tsitsipas in straights. The Tsitsipas in over 36.5 is the one that came through at plus 165. So that was nice. I had the over on the number of breaks, over 5.5. That came in pretty easily. I had Tsitsipas to win and serve the most doubles. That came in pretty easily. And that was at plus 330. Tsitsipas had 5 doubles. Kachanov had 1. That's probably the highlights. But I thought, I mean, I did pretty well on that match. I did not do as well in the other match, but I did pretty well in the Tsitsipas match. How did you do on the Tsitsipas match, Manny?
I did pretty well. So I didn't place too many bets on this. I went 3-2 in this match. So Tsitsipas money line and over 38.5. So I have to consider that a pretty lucky hit. Granted that Tsitsipas choked in the third set. So if that match goes 3 sets, I don't hit that.
Yeah.
So that was a lucky hit. I
had the over on doubles, the over 5.5, and that was a lucky hit because it was actually 4-1 in the third set. And then it actually only got to 5-1. It was only like it was so it got
it was the first game of the fourth set. I think Tsitsipas hit a double. I just had the bet Tsitsipas to serve more doubles than Kachanov at plus 150. So that was actually a really good bet, and he had more doubles like throughout the entire match. Like that was pretty much in the book after the second set.
Yeah.
And then I had over 5.5 breaks, so we got 4 breaks in the first set, right?
I mean, it was really interesting. It's worth mentioning. Tsitsipas got broken twice serving for sets, which I thought is interesting. I don't know if it's relevant, but it's interesting. He hadn't really had that problem in the tournament, and he closed out the match fairly convincingly.
It's relevant in terms of him losing the final because it shows that he gets tight in key moments, and Djokovic is going to eat that up.
Well, does he though? Like he'd done okay with it in this tournament, but all of a sudden he struggled in this particular semi. But then he did fine at 5-3 in the fourth, which is probably a tougher hold than in the third. So I'm not as convinced. It's like weird, but I can see why you'd say you'd go the opposite way. It's like it was just kind of weird. I thought, but maybe there is something there. I'm not saying there's not.
He just has a thought of victory, and then he kind of learned from his mistake in the third, right? I think it was all in his hands, the fact that he didn't close it out in the third, right?
Yeah, I
It
mean, he was
was
serving, right?
nervous.
When Stefanos Tsitsipas is serving, the match is in his hands. Like against anybody, against Rafa on clay, that it's still like if Tsitsipas is serving and hitting, cranking that forehand well, like I don't think there's anybody that can stop him. That can actually stop him. Like he has to miss, he has to make mistakes.
Good point. Yeah. So a couple bets I lost in this match was Kachanov to win the first set, and that was quite painful because like he played a good first set. I mean, I was lucky that he got a break at 3-5 to kind of prolong the set, but then he forced a tiebreak and just played the shittiest first set tiebreak. Like, what the hell was that? Like, I was just
Yeah, it was. Kachanov does some really weird stuff. Like there were 4 or 5 points, and again, I am not accusing anybody of this. But I'm not accusing anybody of this. But like, it literally looks like if he had bet against himself on that point, that's how you would play. Like he just slaps balls like wildly sometimes, and it happens like it feels like once or twice a set, right, Manny? Where he just
yeah, but
misses a ball.
it's like in a row. It's weird.
Well, in this tiebreak, in the tiebreak they piled. It wasn't like so much the slaps, but it was like bad shots that he kind of piled up. But then
He
he
was
also
trying to hit aggressively, but he was missing easy balls in the net. I didn't like he just wasn't hitting a clean ball.
But yeah, so that happened. I was also talking about like the couple of points per set that Kachanov just throws away. They aren't even like easy misses. They're just like balls that he just like slaps for like no reason, like into the net post, or like there's just he makes you can see the difference between like I thought the difference between Kachanov and Sitek. This match showed why Kachanov can't beat top 10 players.
Mm-hmm. He's
right,
like
because when he
0 for 20 in the top against the top 10.
And you can see how why, because when he just gives up a couple of key points here and there, and against these guys, like that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like he threw away the first set tiebreak. That's huge.
I know. It is. And he plays like, he plays like a Korda, he plays a Tiafoe, who are top 20 but not top 10, and you could kind of see the difference between them and Tsitsipas also, right? Like a Tiafoe versus a Tsitsipas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And you could see why Kachanov has more success against those guys. Like you really see like a talent gap when you look closely into that matchup. And like it was the same against Medvedev in Adelaide, right? It's just different, Like when he played Alcaraz in Hamburg last year, I mean, he got demolished. It was like 2-love or something, or love and 2.
And that's he's yeah.
Because he hits good shots, but he's quite one-dimensional, right?
Well, he's a little, I mean, he doesn't play
those dips as
he doesn't play that good of like he doesn't play that. I feel like he doesn't play that good of defense in like long rallies. So like, he can hit some good defensive shots, some like good aggressive defensive shots, but I feel like he struggles to like hit like to hit 2 or 3 good defensive shots in the same rally. So that's a problem. Like I think it's just the giveaway points. Like he just gives away a few too many points for no reason. And I think that's a killer.
How do you compare, like, just from a tennis perspective, how do you compare Kachanov versus Rublev, for example? Because you would expect
Rublev is way better in terms of intensity, so that's the difference.
Intensity?
And Rublev's he's better, right? Rublev hits bigger than Kachanov. Kachanov hits big, Rublev hits bigger.
Yeah, on the forehand side, I'd agree with that. I think Kachanov has a better backhand than Rublev.
Maybe, but Rublev's forehand is so much bigger, like that. It cancels that out. And then again, what I said before, Rublev's serve is better, and then Rublev
intensity.
Yeah, and then the intensity, because actually Kachanov is the physical differences aren't that great. Because like Kachanov volleyed really well against Tsitsipas. He had some really good volleys. So like you can see like the game is there. It's just not like he's missing a couple of key things. The intensity.
It doesn't feel like he lacks intensity, right? Is it just like kind of like?
Well, no, but he does, right? Like the 2 balls he slaps in the net per set for no reason.
Okay.
Like not even the easy misses, the ones he like truly just slaps away into the net because like he decides not to move his feet or whatever. Like that's a lack of intensity.
Every point
right?
counts. Yeah.
Every point counts, right? Like so that's bad. And then it's playing the bad tiebreak, right? Like stringing errors together in a row in a tiebreak. Like Djokovic talks about that actually, how like in tiebreaks, that's the thing he basically tries not to do. Right. So like, whereas Kachanov, he'll, so like, in in a few key moments, there were a couple of key moments where it was catching up at break points, and Tsitsipas held them off on like missed returns. So, I thought that I thought this match showed like the like Kachanov isn't that far away. It's but he is, because he has to overcome.
He is, but he's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but like
get
this match could have been
I get what you're
6-4-3. Like this match should have been 6-4-3 or 6-4-4, which
right.
wasn't
Yeah,
nearly
right.
as good. So
It's just the forehand discrepancy was just so big in this match, right? Like
yeah.
Kachanov has a
I
worse
thought the
forehand than
forehand, I thought there was a
Rublev.
mental gap. I think the forehand was the biggest thing, especially
Mental
specifically
gap.
the attacking forehand, and then the mental gap.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, Tsitsipas probably has the best forehand in tennis right now. I mean, his forehand is wicked, wicked.
The way he spins it, right? The way he spins it and can move you off the court is
Oh,
just brutal. Like that's the difference. Like Rublev hits bigger, but he can't angle guys. He doesn't angle guys off the court the way Tsitsipas
right,
does.
right.
Tsitsipas's accuracy is sick. Like
Oh,
other guys hit bigger, but Tsitsipas's accuracy is so much better.
yeah, and any like floating ball in the middle of the court, he'll demolish you with that forehand.
And he puts it in the corner is why. He doesn't hit it that big, but he puts it in the corner.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's
And
crazy.
his net game is good. Andy, like he has a full game to go with. Like he has a complete attacker's game. All
Yeah,
he's missing is defense. And his defense is getting better every day.
getting
man.
better. He had like
You
a
see slight
point in that
improvements.
match where he was playing great defense. Like
There were
beginning
points
of
that
the
much
second
did play
set.
great defense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's one of the top defenders on tour yet,
No.
but he's getting there. He's improving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does that kill that semi? Now we get into the semi that
Yeah.
wasn't really a semi.
Yeah.
Like that could have, I mean, honestly, that could have been a second round match or something. Like it was brutal.
For a semi, that was pretty pathetic. I mean, that
Yeah, I
bottom
mean,
quarter of the draw was just so bad. And the fact that Berrettini and
well, honestly, the draw just shook out really badly, right? Because like Berrettini is probably the best player right now in that section, in that whole bottom section. Fritz probably was, but Fritz lost the match with Papirin.
Yeah.
But Papirin redlined. I mean, Fritz a little bit of an issue in slams, maybe.
Yeah.
But Papirin just, but Poppy just redlined that match. Like,
I agree with you. Played an amazing match, Papirin, no doubt. But like Fritz really should get through that match. Like if he's really a perennial week in, week out top 10 player, proven top 10 player, even when he's not playing his best, he finds a way to get through that. Right? Like
it was tough because Poppy was just redlining. I mean, it wasn't even Fritz. Like,
but if
Fritz
you put a Tsitsipas or if you put an Alcaraz in those shoes, right, where Fritz was, it doesnent matter how much Papirin is redlining, they find a way to get through that.
I don't know. I mean, Alcaraz almost lost to ARV in a slam last year.
But he got through it, right? He found a way.
But I mean, what? One more forehand and he would have lost, right? Like, I don't know. Like I'm somewhere in between. I don't think I don't know. But I do like what's more scary is that this is the second year in a row that Fritz, their second slam in a row that Fritz has gone out early. Like this I could treat as an anomaly. I didn't like losing to Holt.
No, that was really bad. That was really bad. That being said, Tsitsipas lost to Galan first round at the U.S. Open. So I think like the U.S. Open is like a place of horrors for Tsitsipas, but
and Galan lost to Shardy.
Yeah.
Who Shardy made the double semis, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, you would never expect him to make doubles semis.
No, you wouldn't. And Rinky and Kubler in the doubles final tonight.
Yeah, I actually placed a small bet on them tonight.
I mean, that's just such a fun team, right?
It is. I'll wake up and hopefully, see my my bankroll being a little higher because of Rinky and Kubler, the doubles. So, all right. So as far as the Djokovic match, so I actually did quite well, to be honest. Djokovic to lead 2-0 after 2 games versus Paul. I know we debated this in the last pod. I just felt like early match nerves plus Djokovic being in every Paul service game would be a total adventure. I thought 50% was insane. I thought it may have been like he might win like 45% of the return points. But that being said, I was, like it is kind of what I expected, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, like, if you would have told me Djokovic would have won 50% of Paul's service points, I would have been all over that. That's just it's.
right.
But honestly, Djokovic faced 2 break points in the opening game, so you kind of got a little bit. I mean,
That's
I
a
don't know if
good
you got
point.
lucky, but
That's a
like,
good point.
ironically, Djokovic had a hard time holding to start the match. So
The
like,
first set was just weird.
it was really weird. Djokovic did not play well. Djokovic came out and did not play well.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many errors he had, but he had way more errors than he usually has. But then he turned to switch on, and like after that, after he got through 5-all in the first set, it was just complete one-way traffic.
Sailing,
like
yeah.
it looked like he could win any point he really wanted to. Like even the hold that Paul got, it felt like, I don't want to say they were given, but it felt like Djokovic was conserving to just close it out serving.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the Djokovic over 8.5 aces versus Paul. So Djokovic has gone over the ace total, I think, in most of his matches. Like he's had double-digit aces the last 3 matches. So
yeah.
I'm probably gonna play that in the final again. Probably, especially since I think the match is gonna be longer. Like he's winning these ace totals in like lopsided 3-set matches.
Well, and that's why I didn't take that. I just didn't think he was going to get enough points to serve to do that. I mean, it's insane. So I think his ace percentage for the match was like 13%. Djokovic against Paul, which is nuts because like Paul's one of the best guys on the tour at not getting aced. Like like Tommy Paul's not one of the best players on the ATP tour, but when it comes to not specifically not getting aced, he's one of the best players.
But if Djokovic hits his spot, see, Djokovic is a spot server, right? He's not a pace server, right? So it doesn't really matter the pace. It matters like if Djokovic hits his spot, Paul's not getting to it. Doesn't matter really who he plays.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the data bears that out. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if the data bears that out. I don't know.
But Paul, Djokovic has made a conscious effort that he's going bigger on serve.
But that narrative's been there for a while now, right? Like it's been. I don't know if it's this tournament or if it's just like slowly over time, right? Like if you look over the past 2 to 3 years, like every year he seems to get a little bit bigger on serve, a little bit bigger on serve, a little bit better on serve. I mean, it's amazing. He's now gotten to the point where, like, in terms of his overall game when he's serving, he's one of like the 2 best players on the tour. Like, I think last year he was like second in the tour on hold percentage, which is amazing because you think of him as like him being a return guy, but like his serve has gotten pretty good. He's not necessarily like an acer. I think he's like a little above average in terms of aces, but he's
and this is what Alcaraz needs to do, right? He needs to take a page out of Djokovic's book and continuously.
But that takes time, right? Like that takes time. Djokovic is what, in his mid-30s now, and these guys' ages better than I do. So like, you're talking about a guy in his mid-30s versus a guy in his, who's what, 20?
Yeah, 19 still.
19. So yeah. Like that's, like you give Alcaraz 10 years and I'm sure that serve will get better.
I agree. But yeah. Yeah, but I mean, in 3 easy sets, he had what, 12 aces or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he blew it out of the water. I mean, like I said, it was just insane. Like again, Paul doesn't get aced by 13% by too many guys.
Yeah. And then Djokovic to win the first 2 service games to love or 15 versus Paul. I lost that bet because of that first game, but like, I don't regret that bet. I think it's actually quite good, Yeah,
I had similar bets. I was pretty hard on these like love and 15 type bets, but the first 2 games just didn't go. I mean, I didn't bet anything like that on Paul because I thought I didn't think that Paul's service games were going to be easy by any means, but I thought that Paul would win like 60% of points on serve and get broken like 5 times in the match, not 7 in a 5-2-1 runaway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I thought it'd be like, I didn't think it'd be like competitive, but I thought it'd be like, a little closer.
Right.
I guess only maybe 1 or 2 breaks. I could have seen 5-4-2, which would have been like really just 1 break difference. So like, I probably wasn't that far off of what I really thought would happen. It's just I didn't hit any of my props. I'm a little bit. I hit a couple, but I didn't hit very many, so I'm a little bit whiny.
Yeah. In terms of pain in that match, the Djokovic versus Paul under 18.5 games in sets 1 and 2, that was painful. That was pretty bad.
That was pretty well. Not really. I mean, it was actually because Djokovic just played such a bad first set.
Completely blew out the gave away that lead in the first set. I mean, that
Yeah. So
was
that was, yeah, you're right. That was pretty painful. I also had,
like, can you imagine if this was a best 2 out of 3 set match and you bet Djokovic
yeah,
to win under 12 and a half?
yeah,
Like, we'd be killing ourselves. I mean, that's
yeah.
just
I
brutal.
think I also had Djokovic under 18 and a half. And that also didn't come through because of that
Ugh,
ugly, like, so that was that like, this match was a lot of pain for me, but those two were especially painful.
yeah,
The only thing that did come through for me is I had Paul to break twice, and he did that.
it's good.
So that came through, and that was like plus 175 or plus 250. I can't remember which.
That's good. That's
And
good.
then I had Paul to break in the first set, and that came through.
Okay.
But overall, I think I lost like 4 units. It was ugly. I had Paul. I had a bunch more pro Paul stuff. The one the Manny I debated that didn't end up happening is I had Paul to hold his first 3 service games. It was like plus 600 again. Like I didn't think that this was going to be like. I mean, I thought it was going to be lopsided, but I didn't think it was going to be that lopsided. Like it literally felt like anytime Djokovic wanted to, with the exception of like the kind of distraction of the time violation in the first set. Outside of that, maybe 10 minutes, it was like Djokovic could win any point he wanted to. It was insane.
Yep. Well,
Which now brings us to the final, right?
which helped me in this match was my winning parlay, because I had Djokovic to win 3 sets to love, Djokovic in the entire match to have over 14 and a half aces. Which, did Paul have a single ace?
Yeah. Paul had like 4, I think.
4 aces. Okay. And then so Djokovic had like 12. So yeah, that won. And then the entire match to have over 4.5 doubles. And I don't think Paul had a single double.
No, I think you got there 5. I think you barely got there. That was the
I
one
barely
you
got there, but it was all
but
Djokovic. Yeah. So that was a great hit at plus 650.
yeah, I was sweating that out because I had Djokovic. I had under 5.5 doubles total for the match, and it was at like 5 at like 3-0 in the third set, and I was like, oh my god, please nobody double. But
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's enough of those. Sammy's, you want anything else you want to add on those?
no, man. I mean, they're just so yeah. So I think we can talk about the finals. The finals exciting, man.
Yeah, it's
3:30
great.
a.m. in the red, blue, and white corner from Serbia. Record, with a record 21 Grand Slams.
No, it's
Novak
not a record
Djokovic.
yet.
What? No, I'm saying he's a 21 Grand Slams to his record, like to his name. He's
Okay.
21 slams.
Okay.
It's not the record yet. He hasn't tied the record yet. He did,
Okay.
and then he fell. Yeah. And then in the blue and white corner from Greece, we have Stefanos Tsitsipas, holder of no Grand Slams. But number what? What is Tsitsipas? Number 3 in the world? Number 4?
Number 3 in the world.
And he'll be 3. If he wins, he'll be number 1, right? The winner of this is also
The
number
winner
1,
of this match is number 1.
So that's also a little bit of extra juice on this match. So,
Yeah.
really, 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 yeah. I mean, we actually get a decent final. We've had some really awful mismatches throughout the tournament. This is like if there's anybody I want to see against Novak right now, it might be Tsitsipas. It's either him or Medvedev. Of guys who played in this tournament, like Alcaraz would be great too, but like
Alcaraz, yeah.
I think it would be, if there's anybody in this tournament who could have made it, it would have been Tsitsipas or Medvedev. That would have been a fun match.
Yeah, those are the 2 guys. I agree.
So kind of setting the lay of the land, the lines. The line is Djokovic minus 5.5. And that's at -1. Different books have it slightly differently, but that's going to be at a negative line for Djokovic, probably somewhere between -120 and -140, depending on your book. Djokovic money line I'm seeing is roughly around -500, give or take, and Tsitsipas is like the plus 350 to plus 400 range. So definitely the books are favoring Djokovic pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Over under is 36.5. Manny, what do you think about just the straight lines? Anything entice you there?
The money line is kind of what I expected. I don't think there's really value on either guy. If I could get Tsitsipas at plus 425, 430, I might take a stab at it. I'd probably that's a line I more want to live bet, the money line, for example. As far as the games, I actually like Djokovic there at -5.5. I just, like Djokovic has been killing people. Like the spreads have, he's been like completely destroying them against De Minaur, against Rublev, again against Paul. I know it's Tsitsipas. I know it's a way better opponent, but if Tsitsipas has any mental dip, he's winning a set 6-2, you know, like,
Yeah.
and he's the better player, and 5.5 in a, best out of 5 set match is not that much. Granted that when they played best of 3 in like Astana, and they played in the World Tour, Paris and the World Tour Finals last year, I think they played 2 or 3 times at the end of last year. Those lines were 4.5, right? So, or maybe for one match it was 4, the other match it was 4.5. So the fact that you're only getting one more game when it's an best of 5 set match, that screams Djokovic to me. So
if you were betting it, what would you put the line at, Manny? If you were the book, what would you put the line at?
I put it at 6 or 6.5. That's where I would put it. Probably more like I would probably put 6.5.
Okay. I think if I were the betting line, the bookie, I'd put it at 6.
Okay.
I think I agree with you on everything you said. The only area I actually disagree with you is, or not disagree, but like Tsitsipas, I think will have success on serve. He's just too good of an attacking player not to at times have success on serve. And so 5.5 is a lot in a Tsitsipas match. That's at least 2 breaks, and that might not be as easily said as done. If Djokovic gets broken once, then Tsitsipas has to break Tsitsipas 3 times. That might not be as easily said as done. And you're laying the minus. I actually don't hate the 5.5. I think it's a fine. Like gun to my head, I would still take Djokovic minus the 5.5, but I think it's. I think if I was with the book, I'd put it at 6. I think so.
I think there's no value in hitting Tsitsipas here at plus 5.5, right?
Right. We agree with that. Yeah. So the question is here.
I'm going also based on just matchup aside, just the fact that Djokovic has demolished these game spreads in every match this tournament. Whatever they're setting it at, he's gone way past that.
I get you. I hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think in my mind it's just a matter of it's close. I think on the game spread it's close. I may end up hitting it. I'm still torn. The other thing I might do is I might actually lay half a game and go with Djokovic at 6. Djokovic minus 6, and then I can get that at like even money. And that I feel, but I don't even feel that good about that. Like, I don't know. I think it's I don't love either of those, so I'll probably just
stick with.
I'll probably just stay away.
Yeah,
but it's never Tsitsipas. I don't think at 5.5.
No,
I think that's just
definitely not.
Yeah. So
even at like, I think it should be a 6.5 line. So even at like 6.5 or 7, I'd be torn there.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think 6.5 is probably where I would hit it, but like that's it would have to be if it was like Tsitsipas plus maybe 7.5, I'd hit it actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, so yeah, I think it'd have to be really high for me to hit Tsitsipas. So we're probably more in agreement here than disagreement. It's just a matter of like how much do I want to lay the juice?
Right. What about the total? What do you think of the total?
I think that's really well said. I think
I agree.
I think this is my personal way. The way that I think this comes is like I think it'll be tight sets. I do think this match will be tight sets. I mean, Tsitsipas is too good of an attacking player to not be able to if it's a boxing analogy, to not be able to land shots, right? Like, I think he will. I think he'll have, but I also don't think he's I don't think he ever wins this match. Like, I actually think Djokovic money line at minus. I say this every Djokovic match, but I think the Djokovic money lines have actually been good plays. If you're willing to be bored like a boring EV monster and lay minus 500 and collect your 0.2 units, I don't think they're bad plays. Really, I mean, because I don't do you think is there any how does Djokovic lose this match besides just playing a terrible match? There's no reason he should lose this, right?
No. Unless, the hamstring will be tested in this match, right? Because he's going to have to make tough movements, right? And make balls on the stretch. And Tsitsipas is going to make him, he's going to have to extend his body to his limits, right? In rallies, right? Because Tsitsipas is such a good attacking player. So I think this is like, in terms of physicality, it's going to be a different level than anything Djokovic has faced, right? So that's probably the only reason why. But like that being said, I'm relying on an injury for Djokovic not to win this match, right? So I essentially agree with you.
Yeah. But so anyways, going back to the over, because I think like the thing is, like, I could actually see Tsitsipas stealing a set here, and basically this over under at 37.5 or 36.5, wherever you're seeing it at,
It's
is
3 sets or 4 sets, right?
basically, yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot unless you have like 2 tiebreaks and a 7-5. You're probably not getting an under. You're probably not getting an under or an over in 3 sets. And you're probably not getting an under in 4 unless you have a 6-2 set. And I don't see any 6-2 sets in this match. I think it's going to be all tight, competitive sets. I just think, again, Tsitsipas is too good. I actually, I'll take that back. I could see a Djokovic 6-2 set. I cannot see a Tsitsipas 6-2 set, which is a little more ammo to maybe take the games, or to maybe delay the games and take Djokovic minus 5.5. And it's another reason why I would never take Tsitsipas plus the 5.5. But
I think Tsitsipas wins a set here. I mean, that was actually one of my bets that I got an odds boost on, like FanDuel. It was Djokovic to win the match and Tsitsipas to win a set. And that was plus 175 with like a 30% odd boost.
Okay. So, all right.
I like that. I mean, I also like 3-1 Djokovic at plus 225. So it's probably over, but like I can also see straight sets. I can't really see 5 sets.
It shouldn't, right? Unless something happens unexpected, like Djokovic's hamstring, or he doesn't play well. Yeah, I mean, but I think there will be tight sets here. But I do think Djokovic is just the better player. So I see this as Djokovic in 3, maybe like 4, in either 3 or 4. I think there will be at least one tiebreak. That's one of my bets. Hint coming up. Okay. So I think it'll depend on if Tsitsipas wins like a couple of very close.
So based on what we're saying, maybe there is some sense in taking the over, right? Because you think
I don't think so, because you have to lay juice. I think it's 50-50. I think it's close to 50-50, and I just don't want to lay juice. I'm not going to lay the juice there.
I don't lay juice there. Yeah, good point.
So I'm staying away from all those. So now, I guess we go into props.
All right, your favorite.
So my favorite prop, or my first prop here, is Tsitsipas to not win a set at plus 185. The caveat here is that if there's a retirement, I lose. I push, and if there's a retirement after Tsitsipas has won a set, I lose. But I'm laying that caveat, and I'm taking Tsitsipas. I'm taking Djokovic in straights at plus 185.
Okay.
What do you think about that? I think because it's plus money. I think like if it was anything,
4 sets is the most likely outcome, but I like that. Granted, you're getting the plus 185.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about the 3-1 Manny? What is that, at plus 290 or something?
Plus 225.
Plus 225. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I'm probably gonna go there.
I don't think that's terrible either. I always get scared of 3-1s, but I don't know why I get any more scared of 3-1s than 3-0s. Like, so I'll probably hit that too.
I'm actually more scared of 3-0s. Not in Djokovic versus like De Minaur, but
yeah.
In a match like this, I
think it's just 3-1 feels more exact, right? Like you need Tsitsipas to show up enough to win a set, but not enough to win the match. Whereas like 3-0, like Tsitsipas can like decide like he just wants to like hang out and hit the ball with the wrong end of the racket, and you can win that way. Not that I see that being a likely scenario, but like if Tsitsipas just bombs out completely, you don't need him to be dragged along. You can, he can just fail and you can win 3-0.
Well, that bet that I placed Djokovic to win the match, but Tsitsipas to lose a set, that's basically covering for 3-1 or 3-2, right? But I actually like the exact at plus 225, 3-1, because I think that's the most likely outcome, in my opinion. But that being said, plus 185 for 3-0 is not bad either. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think either of those are good. I might end up hitting both. I don't know. I'll have to see.
Yeah. My favorite prop in this match is Tsitsipas over 3.5 double faults at plus 110. I'm hammering that.
I don't know. I mean, so I get where you're going with that. So I think isn't the actual over under. I saw on Bet365. I think it's over 2.5 at plus 100.
No, I'm getting this at I'm getting this on
Oh, did they bump this
Bet365.
up then?
They may have.
Because so yeah, I don't know. It's I think that's a smart bump up by them. I think 3.5 is like the line. That's exactly where I would have said it if I was the book. Tsitsipas is like his average double faults in this tournament, I think, is right around 3%. His average double
But
fault.
Tsitsipas had 5 doubles against Kachanov, who's not nowhere near as good of a
But that's
return.
one match, right? That's one data point. Like,
but he's
other
gonna
matches where
he's
had
gonna
one or two
press
this
on
tournament.
serve, right? There are gonna be points in this match where he's facing break point and he's gonna be trying to go bigger on the second serve than he
I
normally
think I
does
like it.
due to
I think I like
progression
it
in
at
the
plus
rally.
money. I think I like it at plus money, Manny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just where I would like. What are you getting plus money? Plus 130 or
Plus
something?
110.
I guess it's fine.
I think that line
I would never
to
hit
me
the under on that. If anything, it's going over.
that line should be 5.5.
See, I don't think so. I mean, it's like then you're betting on Tsitsipas getting tighter, feeling nervous, or feeling like he has to go bigger against Novak. I don't. I'm attributing the 5 doubles on Kachanov match just being like variance. Like there's like sometimes like I said, Tsitsipas's average that 3.5 is right around Tsitsipas's average. This is another interesting thing. Another thing be interesting to look at is if playing against like top competition causes guys to double more. I don't think it does. I actually looked at the 3 matches they played in October through December, the Astana,
Paris and
the
ATP finals.
yeah. And if I remember right, I don't think that I saw too much of like Tsitsipas having trouble serving against Djokovic in terms of doubles. Like obviously in terms of like winning points and stuff, different story. But in terms of doubles, I think he only had like a couple doubles in each of those matches. It's I can look it up real quick. I had those up on my computer because I think the head to head. So that's something that's worth mentioning here. As we talk about this match, Djokovic has won 9 in a row against Tsitsipas.
Yeah, it's not a good. Yeah, but is anyone a good matchup for Djokovic? Or like Djokovic is a favorite against anyone, right? So besides Nadal on clay and maybe a prime Wawrinka. That's really all I can think of.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Alcaraz is pretty close, right? Back when Medvedev was in if Medvedev was playing at his best, I think that's pretty close.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, I hear you. I think your point's very valid there. Just looking back, so Djokovic,
yeah.
So he hit no doubles against Djokovic in the Paris Master or at the ATP Tour Finals.
Yeah.
1 double at the Paris Masters. Trying to look back at Astana, 2 doubles in Astana. So I don't know. The data doesn't really seem to bear out that Djokovic is that like Tsitsipas is scared to serve against Djokovic. So I don't know. I think the 3.5 at plus 110 is still probably good because it's some plus money, but I don't think it's like amazing. I think it's slightly good. I'm disappointed that came up. I think if you can find it at 2.5, that's a lot better bet.
But that being said, I feel like doubles. It's a like how tight is he gonna be, right?
But why would he be getting tighter for this, right? He's already played Djokovic in a slam final, Roland Garros a couple years ago, and he blew a 2-set lead.
Yeah, which actually I think makes him actually tighter in this match. The fact that he feels like he has something to prove and like has to kind of
I don't know
for that.
I don't know. I don't know if it makes any difference one way or the other, but I'm not. Tsitsipas has shown me a lot. I mean, granted, he did get a little tight in that one game specifically at 5-4 against Kachanov serving for the match. But then at 6-4 in the tiebreak, he was fine. Kachanov just played a great points. Like, I don't know. Doubles scare me. If the line is close, double fault betting scares me because it is very random in nature. So I don't know. But I hear your logic. The logic all makes sense. It's just the data doesn't bear that. There's nothing clear than the data that bears that out. Like you're betting on Tsitsipas being tight because this is a slam final.
But I also think Tsitsipas has actually doubled more in this tournament than he has, at the end of last year, for example. Like he doubled 3.9% of the time against Kachanov, 2% of the time against Lechka, 6% of the time against Griekspoor. Like that's quite a few doubles.
It is. I think, I think my expectation is that he's going to double fault roughly 3% of the time. Which, given that the over-under, like if he serves, honestly, I probably would hit it the plus money because I think this is basically the same thing as betting if it's going to go 3 sets or 4 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if it goes to get 3.5 doubles, I think if it goes 4 sets, you probably get there. But I don't know. Okay. So my favorite bet.
Okay. Yeah, you should.
My favorite bet is Tsitsipas under 2.5 breaks. I don't see any way he breaks Djokovic 3 times. They've in the three tournaments, 3 matches they played Astana and the 2 in Paris, the one in the Masters and the one the finals. I guess the finals aren't in Paris anymore. But in those 3 matches in 7 sets, 7 long sets, Tsitsipas broke Djokovic twice. One guarantee I can make is that this match will not go to best of 7 sets. It's not in the rule book. They only play 5 in the rule book. So I would bet that minus 100,000 was available. The match will go less than 7 sets. So given that, I think I don't see how Tsitsipas gets 3 breaks here. Djokovic is one of the best servers on the tour now. I mean, he's one of the top holders. This is the interesting part of this match too. So the exciting part of this match, the thing that everybody's going to talk about, right, is Tsitsipas' offense against Djokovic's defense. But I don't think that's where this match gets decided. I think this match gets decided in Djokovic's offense versus Tsitsipas' defense. Because I think Tsitsipas will make almost no progress on Djokovic's. When Djokovic is on the offensive, I think Tsitsipas' defense will make almost no progress.
I agree with you there.
And I think Tsitsipas' offense will be successful in Djokovic at times, but I think Djokovic will do enough defensively to win the match. But I think that the decider will be I would not be surprised. I haven't seen it anywhere come up yet, but I want to see what the odds are on Djokovic not to get broken. Because if it's better than minus 300 or better than if you can get plus 250 or plus 300, I might take Djokovic not to get broken at all. I think it's a real possibility.
I think that's what you're going to get. You're probably going to get plus 350, plus 400.
And I will hit that then because I think there's a really I think that's the unsung part of this match is that I think Djokovic doesn't. I think there's a good chance Djokovic doesn't get broken at all. I think
how many times has Djokovic gotten broken in this tournament?
What?
He got broken twice against Paul. Rublev didn't break him, right?
Yeah.
Nor didn't break him. Enzo didn't break him.
No.
So he's
it might just be the 2 against Paul.
Those are the only 2 times he got broken this event.
Let me see. I can pull this up right now. 2 against Paul, 3 against Dimitrov. We forgot about the 3 against Dimitrov.
Oh yeah, Dimitrov.
And
that's right.
Yeah.
I hit the under 2.5 breaks.
But I think so. But here's the thing, right? Djokovic played a bad match against Dimitrov. I think we'd probably agree with that, or at least the first set.
Yeah, that probably was his weakest match of the bunch.
And then Djokovic just kind of mentally lost focus after a time violation against Paul. I think that's what drove those 2 breaks. So again, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to come through. But if you give me plus 350 or plus 400, I think that's great odds for Djokovic not to get broken.
I agree.
Because Tsitsipas is no better of a returner than Andrei Rublev or Demonor.
Yeah, it's one of the weaker parts of his game for sure.
Yeah. I think Tsitsipas is an average ATP returner at this point.
Yeah, I think
which is
this
a great
one
improvement
he's
from where he
shown
was.
slightly better than average, but yes, I that's probably the weakest part of his game for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I'm gonna tail you on that. I like the under 2.5 breaks a lot, actually.
um
Yeah, I like that. What
other stuff I like,
what odds on Bovada do you get that at?
the under the
Oh, that
under
was the
200.
bet 365. It's not up on the
Yeah, I
board
think it was
yet.
minus 138. Oh no, yeah, it was minus
Minus 138
138.
is what I'm seeing here.
But I
Yep.
would love that. I think, I mean, honestly, if you could get an alternate, and I'm hoping that a minus one, under 1.5 comes up, because I think that could hit as well. I also like there to be a lot of tie breaks in this match. I don't think the or not a lot, but I think there's a good chance. I have a tie break, and I might also take the over 1.5 tie breaks, because I mean, so again, we talked about Djokovic, we talked about Tsitsipas. In the 3 matches they played in the head to head, I think Tsitsipas got broken an average of once per set. I think got broken 7 times in 7 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so again, like, it's the same thing, right? You're talking about, like, he's got I think honestly I think like every set is like close to maybe like a 30% chance that it goes to a tiebreak.
20 in their 12 meetings, 20% of the sets have gone to a tiebreak.
In their 12 meetings. So I'm looking more at the last 3, because I mean some of those are from a long time ago. A bunch of them are on clay.
Okay.
But in those 3, I think 2 sets went to tiebreaks, right? So that's 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really like there to be, and I looked at some other stats too. If you look at just their stats against other guys, like it's not that far out of line for them to go to tiebreaks 30% of the time. Like they're both, I mean, Djokovic is one of the best servers in the game now. He's actually one of the best attacking players in the game. People don't realize that. And Tsitsipas is probably the premier attacker. So yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
really like.
4 and 6 in the ATP finals last year.
Yeah,
It was 6-2, 3-6, 7-6 in Paris. That was a really close match. Um, and then it was 3 and 4 in Astana. So,
yeah.
but yeah,
So 2 tiebreaks out of 7.
2 out of their 7, yeah, sets went to tie breaks.
So I really like 1 tiebreak here. I think that's only like minus 110, so I love that. And then, like I said, depending on what you can get 2 plus tiebreaks at, if you can get that like plus like
450.
3, yeah, I love that at plus 450. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think the line that should be more like plus 250 to plus 300. So you're getting quite a bit of profit there as well.
I'm gonna tail you at with the over half a tie, like over half a tie break, but not the 1.5. I know you're getting good odds. I just don't see that. What about aces?
If anything, there I might go the under on Djokovic aces, but you're kind of talking. I don't know. Like
I'm
Djokovic
going
is
over
hitting
on
more
Djokovic
aces in this
aces.
tournament.
I'm
I'm
definitely going
looking
over
at,
there. 11.5.
yeah.
I think it's ludicrous that Bet 365 has Tsitsipas have more aces than Djokovic.
I think it's pretty even. I think it's pretty even. Um, I don't think it's ludicrous.
So then,
Yeah, I don't know.
you want to hit the tie with aces at plus 1400.
Um,
Both guys to have the same number of aces.
yeah, I know yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm tempted to. I also, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see this going any of the ways. I actually think it's like, I don't know. I mean, Tsitsipas does hit a fair number of aces, right? Like in this tournament, he's averaged like 12 aces per match. Djokovic is actually like below average, slightly below average in terms of not getting ace because he stands so far up. Like because he's so aggressive on returns. Djokovic actually gets ace a little bit more than the average player. So
Paul had
so
4 aces.
yeah, but I'm not sure how many aces Paul hits in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I yeah, I
yeah, Paul had been averaging. Well, yeah, I mean, he did limit Paul's aces a little bit. I mean, but it's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I picture Djokovic as being a guy that's really hard to be aced, but then when you bring those stats because he's so aggressive on return, but he's like, I mean,
he's a great returner because he makes
yeah,
like if he gets his rack on the ball, he goes in. And I think I saw a
always
stat.
super
Somebody said
deep.
that like
Yeah.
if he gets it in, he wins like 50% of the points. Like that's why he's such a good returner. Like he doesn't hit weak. Like we talked about this the other night. Djokovic does not hit weak returns,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Like it's like it's either
Right.
it's either he gets aced or he hits a great return, right? Then he basically resets the point every time, like
Right.
which is actually really tough for Tsitsipas because Tsitsipas would love short ones, short.
Mm-hmm. So he's gonna
Tsitsipas
have
would
to
love
hit.
short returns, just crank that forehand, and I don't
He's
think
gonna
Djokovic is
have
going
to
to do
hit
that.
3 or 4 good balls from the back of the court to get that short forehand,
Yeah.
and
So
that's gonna take a toll over a 5-set match. I,
yeah. So
I
I
just
don't.
think
I don't necessarily.
Djokovic is going so big on serve, though. I mean, it
I
feels to me
know.
like in a quick 3-set match, he clearly hit the over in the ace
I know. I know. And he hit 14 against Rublev.
Yeah, that's a lot
Um,
of aces in a 1, 2, and 4 match.
It is, I know, which is what makes me scared to hit the under now on the Djokovic aces. So I might just stay away entirely. But then I'm looking like against Tsitsipas. Yeah, I mean, he hit 11 in the Paris Masters match. He hit, but he only hit 3 at the World Tour final. So this could go like way under. Um,
There is variance there, right?
yeah. He hit 1. He hit 1 in the match again in Astana.
Yeah, it was probably more like +1s that he got there, right?
Yeah. So
Assuming.
I don't know. I mean, and that I guess that's what leans me to take the Djokovic under, but you're kind of talking me off it now. Like he's been pretty hot lately with it. I'm probably just gonna stay off the aces prop entirely.
Okay.
And any other stuff. I'm sure I'm waiting for Bovada to put out their specials because like Bovada always puts out like a million specials for these matches, but they
Yeah.
always release them like day of. So unfortunately, I'll probably have to post them on Twitter for the
Yeah, you're
listeners.
talking me out of the aces. I'm probably just gonna hit the tie for aces then at +1400. And I might hit Djokovic to have more aces than Tsitsipas at +137. Because Tsitsipas is a favorite to have more aces. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think the time might be the play, but even like I also expect like a lot of variance here. So I'm even scared of the tie. Because I feel like this is just gonna be like I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be like I feel like this could go
Yeah.
anywhere. Like I don't even know if it's like it could I feel like it could go in a lot of different directions. So I'll probably just avoid laying the juice. I'm trying to look up the other stuff I like. What else did I already hit? Oh, I hit Djokovic to win in a tiebreak at +125.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit Djokovic to win in a tiebreak in the first set at +500. So like my overall feeling on this match is like very, very few breaks, close sets, but Djokovic is certainly the better player and should win these close sets.
I like under 1.5 breaks in the first set at +120. That's one of my favorite bets as
I think
well.
that's amazing.
Match.
Also, I'll tell you on that. That's also amazing.
It's a good
I don't
bet.
see any sets here having more than one. I think the 6.5 breaks is a great play too. I don't think I'm probably gonna hit that also. I
Mhm.
didn't. I'll probably hit the. I like the Tsitsipas under 2.5 better, but
Yeah.
I don't see there being any. I don't. I could. I don't want to say that. I I don't think there's gonna be a lot of breaks. There might be a set with 2 breaks, but I don't think there'll be a lot of breaks. I think this is these guys the way they match up leads to a lot of holds.
Mm-hmm. I also like Djokovic to lead 3-1 after the first 4 games at +200.
So I don't like that. Because again, he'll need to break Tsitsipas to serve for that to happen. And like, I don't think like
I expect some early nerves from Tsitsipas. I
so. This
expect
is all about early nerves. Like
slow start.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, maybe.
And that held true against Paul, right? I know you were against
Well,
that,
I don't know if that
but
was early. If that was early nerves. I mean, that was just Djokovic being way way better at tennis than
way
Paul. And
better.
like,
That's a
He won
possibility.
50%. Like, if you would have told me Djokovic was going to win 50% of return points, I would have tailed you on that. Right? Like,
Good point. I didn't see any time props yet.
No, and I those time props are going to be tricky, man. One thing to note is that Djokovic plays pretty slowly. So if you get like a standard time prop, I might take Djokovic. But honestly, like, I think that's just going to be another creative way of playing. Is it 3 sets or 4 sets? Because I bet you the time prop's going to
So
come
you
in at
might play
like,
the over on time.
no, because I think I might. I think because I think the time prop's going to come in at like 240 or something. Is my guess is where the time prop will come in at. And I think if it comes in, maybe it'll come in a little higher. Man, probably around 240. So if it comes in around 240, or 250, that's basically 3 sets or 4 sets.
Yeah, it's not up yet, so I don't see it on any of the platforms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these props always come up. These fancy props always come up super late.
yeah, I would agree with you. Should be 240, 245 in that area. That's where I'm. It's definitely not going to be 5 hours and 20 minutes like the Nadal Medvedev match was.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no way it's going to be like that, but
No, this is not going to be a long match. This will not be a long match.
yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I mean, honestly, just in terms of the overall match, I think it'll be I don't know what the conditions are going to be like. I haven't looked that up. That's something to keep in
It's
mind. I'll probably
usually
look that up.
pretty, in that stadium, it's kind of like half closed, half opened. And at night, it's usually pretty mild there. So I don't think conditions are really a factor, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's just going to be a standard night match, So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, if it was like the French Open final or, the Wimbledon final, we'd obviously have to consider it more. But in this environment, it's pretty standard. So,
Yeah. So I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, it's obviously it's a premier match, right? But yeah, it's Djokovic is just so good at this tournament, man. So good.
yep, yeah, so good. It's not quite like Nadal at the French, but it's getting close to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting close to that.
Yeah, I know. All right, man. So, well, it's been a fantastic Australian Open. It's been a lot of fun. So I know we
Yeah, and we'll come
a
back
lot
to
of bets.
recap this. We'll come back to recap probably the final and recap the tournament in general. Probably sometime early next week. We
Yep.
won't have a cast obviously tomorrow because
Mm-hmm.
we kind of unloaded everything today. We'll post any new props we have that we didn't discuss here on Twitter. Game bet match 1, 2, 3, but I'm sure that's where you found us. That's the only place we're up right now. We have to work a little bit on our production value. It's probably one of our things we need to work on is our production value. So if any of the listeners out there have any hints, any ideas for us, it would be great to hear your thoughts on what we do to increase our production value a little bit. But yeah, so that's all I got. Thanks as always to the listeners. We haven't called you guys out in the beginning, but we do appreciate you. You keep us going, all 15 of you. But we love it. It's a fun cast, and
Yep.
I think that's all I got.
Definitely.
It's late here. It's about 2 a.m. So I think it's about time for us to hit the sack. I'm playing tennis at 6 a.m. tomorrow. So
Whoa.
yeah.
All right. All right. Well, have a good night, guys. Enjoy the final and best of luck on all your bets.
All right, guys. Enjoy your night, everybody.